themselves. Viewed as historiography, this form is experimental and arises from a sense that the complexity of events emerges most clearly at the level of the individual. There is a dark paradox here. Many of those who went to the First World War were driven by an idealism that lacked any basis in reality. They were fighting for fantasies. Idealism of that kind was largely absent in the Second World War, in spite of the fact that there was so much more at stake. This created a remarkable tension between the purpose of the war and how it was experienced, between its grand aims and a reality that, more often than not, was a crazy, hysterical mess, as the Nobel Prize winner John Steinbeck later summed up his own experiences. At the same time, though, not everything was like that. We know that it really did come down to a struggle between barbarity and civilization, and that November 1942 witnessed the crux of that struggle. Many of the people involved probably understood that, too. The sacrifices it demanded are obvious, and it would be a mistake to see the outcome of the struggle as a given, not just because that would make the sacrifices a sort of historical technicality, but also because it would change an uncertain, unpredictable human catastrophe that was beyond comprehension at the time into an exciting but essentially non-dangerous narrative. That, in turn, could feed the dangerous illusion that all this could not be repeated, but with a diametrically opposite result this time round. P.E. Uppsala, March 2022. November 1st to the 8th. Plans, great and small. Compassion and brutality can exist in the same individual and in the same moment, despite all logic. Death can be successfully suppressed for the very reason that it is not susceptible to experience. Just a week earlier, the destruction of a battalion had taken half a day. Now, the whole regiment was wiped out in 3/4 of an hour. Strong winds sweep in from the East China Sea and the Huangpu River, sweeping past the junks, steamships, and sailing vessels in the harbor, over the crowds of people, animals, and vehicles on the wide promenade, past rickshaws, carts, cyclists, hordes of cyclists, overcrowded streetcars, wood gas buses, and military trucks. They sweep past the rows of tall, imposing Western-style buildings of the Bund, the $1 Million Mile, past its colonnades, domes, ledges, balustrades, and spires, and over the never-diminishing groups of beggars below them. They move on via Putong Point into the narrow streets and low houses of Hongkou, many of which still lie in ruins after 5 years. Then on towards Jabé, winding their way up through the walls and clusters of crenellated wooden roofs of the old Chinese town, and on over the empty racecourse with its 10-story tower and silent, deserted, multi-story grandstand. And so into the International District, along crowded straight streets and tree-lined avenues, Gordon Road, Bubbling Wells Road, Avenue Foch, Avenue Joffre, Avenue Pétain, past temples and cathedrals, hospitals and universities, department stores and theaters, roadblocks and barbed wire, cafes, bars, and brothels. Then they proceed on up through parks where the trees become ever darker and barer as the chill winds sweep away their warm-colored leaves before finally disappearing eastwards toward the Wusong River and the surrounding countryside with its small towns, villages, and rice fields, away towards distant Jiangsu, Anhui, and Henan. It's late autumn in Shanghai. Under these gray autumn skies, a girl named Ursula Blomberg lives in the southern part of the French concession. She has just had her 12th birthday. She lives with her parents on the bottom floor of a house surrounded by a wall on the small Place des Fleurs, right by Rue de Kaufmann.